Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. Today we are going over my third place Gravidia World Springfest deck profile. This was at Springfest France for standard, of course, overdress, and we got third with the team, the Dream Team, Team Cardiff. So shout out to them, Jay and Mo, amazing players. I believe Mo has his YouTube channel up as well, Astral Susano. So if you want to check out his ideas, that'll be up in the near future. I don't think Jay has his own YouTube channel up just yet, but I'll put it up in the comments down below if he ends up making that in time. Other shout out is 50 cards. If you need anything for Vanguard right now, you can go to 50cards.shop and use the code Solemn. The reason I have this deck so blinked out is him. So big ups to him. Use the code Solemn, get some discount. He has Lyrical Monasterio stuff up. Lyrical, amazing set, honestly. Super hyped for it, both for premium and standard actually. So hopefully that set will be a home run as well. You can check that out, and of course anything else as well. Premium collection is maybe up still. I don't know. Check it out. Use the code Solemn. Of course, also shout out to Team WCC. Honestly, I didn't really test with them or at all. I didn't test much for standard, honestly, but still shout out to them for all the support and so forth. So third place, the medal is behind me up on the wall. You don't even see it on screen, sorry. But we do have the prize card right here, so that's pretty cool. Facade right here. So as you can see, I played World Gravidia. I think World Gravidia is better than normal Gravidia. The rush it gives you is just incredible. So many decks right now are reliant on grade 4s, and so they're essentially turn 4 decks. So if you can rush them really hard, you can get ahead. I really like that. Kind of similar story what we did for BRO. The deck back then is very similar in how you play. Like the technical play didn't really change much. You just in set 4 got a bunch of new good cards, and you mostly just cut shit cards like Destajade. Without further ado, let's show specifics. So as you can see, we have the ride line, the world cards. This is the coolest starter. Now that everyone knows about world, I didn't have to, you know, fake with a different starter or anything like that. And we have the one Shadow Army token. So as you can see right here, one world. I still want access to the play, and the grade 1 gives me that play, but I'm no longer going as hard on it either. Not running the Tamborino, I'm not running the double world, because again, there's a lot of good new stuff in set 4 that require to room more so than the slightly better high roll. Next, we have our triple Gravidia. As I said before, Persona riding is broken. It's honestly like one of the most important things in D, getting a Persona ride. This deck actually Persona rides more consistently than others because you are going +2 instantly on your grade 3 ride, which is something not a lot of decks can say for themselves. With that being said, yeah, I mean, D, go first, C over triggers, get your Persona ride. That's probably like the most crucial thing about it. Then we have our 4 Burrito. This thing is so incredible. This is also the reason why we no longer had as much room for the extra world and Tamborino and so forth. Such an important beater that also lets us like recycle meteors. We can throw them away more easily for riding up, which I already did anyway, but this time I don't feel as bad anymore. I can throw them away for PGs, knowing that I get them back anyway. Overall, just incredible card. It's both the beater the deck missed with the inherent crit, depending on the matchup, whilst also being like the meteor recursion and being a good, like, it does everything. You should probably check out my BRO deck profile, honestly, if you want like super in-depth talks about this deck. But essentially, I was talking about how that grade 3 machine thing sucked ass, and that's why I only ran 1, I believe, and even when I was playing it felt awful. This thing does what that grade 3 tried to do, but a million times better. So incredible card, has to be a 4-off. Then I'm playing triple Stanner. So this is a 10k shield, it's a 15k attacker. I use it to rush early together with the token. Later on it's big shield. Of course, ideally you want your front to be this, but there's a lot of retire in the format, and so you do need more than just these. This is also why in the BRO list I ran like the scissors and this and some other stuff. I wanted to have new front rows because Barrow wiped, this wipes, now this format prison wipes. You really don't want to get caught without rear guard. So 3 of this, again, great for rushing. Then next we have the 1 high roll, of course. You're gonna only resolve this once per game, but if you draw it, you're very happy with it, of course. And then we have the worst card in the deck, this thing. This thing is absolute dog shit. This is the biggest mistake I ran. Funny thing is, like I said, I didn't test that much, and so I didn't have like time to optimize the list or anything like that. I just went with my BRO list. I swapped out a couple cards, and then I saw everyone run this, and I read it, and I'm like instantly going, wait, you place this after Gravidia already searched for meteors. So if you ran out, it sucks. And if you're using it, that means you're out of meteors in the deck. So you thinned a lot, so you've increased your odds of checking triggers a lot, and you're probably gonna do your 5 meteor play now, now. So now you're entirely reliant on hopefully hitting those crits or those triggers and, you know, going ham here. And that is the moment where you decrease your odds of checking meteors. Holy shit, that's awful. If this thing had the exact same effect, but on Guardian Circle, wow, we'd be talking. Like, you could just use up your last meteors and, you know, oh, and then in your turn, boom, put the meteors back. Now next turn I ride up again and get them again. That would be great. But this thing is always too late or too early. It's too late if you ran out, and it's too early if you ran out in the sense that you're now gonna check all your triggers. It's always bad. And like, people say like, oh yeah, but it's against deck out. You can also just decrease the amount you draw. Like, when I notice, damn, this is gonna be a long matchup, I start choosing not to draw with Gravidia, which again, depends on the matchup, depends on your hand. But if you're going to deck out, it is very, very likely that you have a big hand anyway. That assumes your opponent denied. Now, of course, if you're both just grinding it out, cool. But then if you're both grinding it out, you really need your drive checks to be high quality. You need to see triggers, you need to see shield, but you just send back fucking meteors. So even in the deck out grind game, you're feeling awful by using him, because suddenly you're gonna see drive check meteors and probably not live through their turn anyway. So it's just always failing on every front. I fucking hated this card. Again, I put it in because I saw everyone running it. I was like, I literally told Jay, like, this card is super bad, but I see everyone run it, so maybe on the day I will notice why people are running it. And I had like one deck out game, and I was like, if I had Shergo here, it wouldn't have done anything anyway. It's just so shit. The whole day I like called it and was like, oh, I wish this was a standard. Call, I wish this was a standard. Call, I wish this was something else. I know a lot of people will now be mad in the comments, blah, 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 but like, holy shit. Just no, I'll swap it out. 4 of this meteor, of course, this is the doubling. This thing is the reason that a deck suddenly can do 5 meteors. So if you remember my top profile for BRO, I was saying how we almost never got to do the 5 meteor trigger doubling because, well, it wasn't the pure build, so you ran less meteors and you ran less of the other cards and so forth that, you know, get your meteors there. But because we now have this thing and the burrito, we actually do the 5 meteor play all the time. So this thing, absolutely incredible. Next, I'm playing 7 of the regular meteor. At first I played 6, so I was like 6 and 4, I believe. But then I noticed the card that I was trying to run instead of it was like the grade 1 CB1 draw 1 for Gravidia. The issue with that card is like, you're paying a CB to sometimes draw a card assuming you drew him, but by running an extra meteor over him, you will draw an extra card in the later game. So that card is like an earlier maybe I'll draw, but the extra meteor is a later I will absolute draw, and also have like the other benefits of running more meteors. So for that reason I ended up cutting that, and I was very happy with that. Important. So yeah, I'm playing 11, which is higher than the BRO build, but it's because again right now we are able to do the 5 meteor play, whereas in that BRO build we never ever did. Next we have 4 of the PG. This is the only thing not a SP in the deck. So sad. But yeah, PGs of course you have to play 4, and I don't want to spend the money. Next we have 2 Bobal Mine. I see everyone cut this. I think that's wrong. The reason that this card is so incredible is, first of all, against prison, it just comes back. It's in your prison, and then you pay a soul and you get this back, or you pay a CB, and then this goes back into soul. So now it basically paid back the cost, but you still emptied their prison in the process, so they don't scale as quickly anymore. And then also, if your opponent damage denies you post order into Gravidia, that's like a play around some people do. Then you go, ha, that's cute, here's a Bobal Mine, fuck off. So for that reason, this is really, really good as well. You basically ruin the play around, and it's a huge tempo swing because it essentially turns the deny into a misplay. Like, they get tempo back by doing that, but then since you had this, not only did they lose tempo because they're not dealing damage, but then they also didn't stop your tempo either. So this card, a huge deal for that reason. I see people play like the Gravidia grade 1, and I've honestly never ever needed that card in my life. Like, it's a cool booster on Burrito, I respect that, but the other part of the skill, I don't know, I never feel it. Especially because if you're using Baringer, that's a 3 soul, and you're using Burrito, that's the 1 soul, and you're using multiple Burritos a game. So if you want to be able to use the +2 on that grade 1, that means that you need to start soul charging way more on the meteor ads from Gravidia, which might lead you to actually get into deck out, which is maybe why people are playing Shergo, you know? It's because they're running the grade 1, which forces them into more deck out because it's forced into more soul charge. Especially because this thing, funnily enough, also costs a bunch of soul. So if you're using like Burritos and Baringers and this, of course you need to like stop yourself from decking out with meteors because you're using so much soul that you require Gravidia to constantly soul charge. It's very anti-synergy. It's really weird. Triggers are actually more interesting than you might think in this deck. So as you know, in BRO, I ran like vanillas because I wanted to call them behind Vanguard in order to be able to rush going second so that like I could have like an 8k boosted by a 5, making 13 so they couldn't 15k no pass. Same on the grade 2. I ran like all my crits vanilla. However, because everyone is now running prison, I'm still doing that because that's still crucial for me, but I also added 2 of this. So now against prison, this is like a thing that constantly comes out of prison for free and then goes back into soul. So, you know, I got the value out of them, and then also they're like safe. Well, apart from the fact that they try to steal your soul, of course. They can't steal all your soul, or can they? For that reason, basically diversified a little bit to ruin prison's day sometimes. First, I think 1, it didn't come up, but I do still like the choice. I think it's better. And it's very unlikely that with this and then all the heals, you ever end up like losing. If you played like 10 triggers that are 5k boosters, that's probably good enough. I never felt like, oh no, I'm so sad that this is this. In my third place playoffs, so my final game, this was actually gonna turn the game around as well, but then I won before using it. But regardless, it would have come up. This is not too bad. I'm not mad about this choice at all. I would do it again. And then we have, of course, the over trigger. Should be banned. And then we have triple front. I notice a lot of Gravidia lists running draws. I understand why, because sometimes I'm like, wow, this would be so cool if it was a draw. But more often than not, it feels way better when it's a front. Just the fact that you have a 20k shield in a deck that doesn't have a lot of shield because you're like playing with all these meteors feels way better than the draws. Even though the 10k, of course, is a bigger upgrade from the 5, I still don't like it a lot. Also, since this deck can have deck out issues, I don't know why you're playing Shergo to then play draws. Like, they're just fighting each other. So I would much rather not have the draws, never feel like I'm gonna deck myself out by accident, feel, you know, more secure with the fronts, and then not be forced into playing the dog shit Shergo. Next, we have the 4 heals, because heals, and that's it. So yeah, list was pretty good. Shout out to my opponent in top 4 who healed at 6. He's a good player though. He also played against us in Top Cut. Also top 4 actually. Or was it fine? No, top 4, yeah. We played against that team again, Team Entrepot. Very good players. He was on Grand Blue there, and there he was just shredding people apart. So good player regardless. But yeah, I did feel a little sad that we lost out on finals because of the heal at 6. I hope you found this interesting. This was the deck. I still think this was the correct pick. Gravidia World, still solid. I see a lot of people swapping to Pure. It's not bad. That is definitely not bad. There's pros and cons to both. Like the Pure build is able to draw early on, so you have like slightly more consistency for your persona ride. You don't get rushed as easily. You can do the 5 meteor play slightly more consistently because you do get access to more meteors and so forth. But despite that, I still prefer just the ability to aggro out some of the decks in the format right now. Hope you found this interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, you can go to 50cards.shop and use the code Solemn for a discount, and I will see you soon. Ciao.